Perspective on Florida Gateway College Television is sponsored by Potash Corp of White Springs. Potash Corp, helping nature provide.
Hello everyone and welcome to Perspective. This is a public affairs presentation of Florida Gateway College. My name is Mike McKee and my guest on the program today is Juan Piersol. He is the Executive Director of Business, Industrial, and Agricultural Programs here at Florida Gateway College. We'll be talking about some of those programs, including a brand new one in horticulture. We'll do that when we come back.
Thanks for the ride.
Thanks for the job.
Thanks for the air.
Thanks for dinner.
Gracias por este gran día.
Thanks for the medicine.
Thanks for the adventure.
Thanks for the water.
The ocean takes care of us. Let's return the favor. Our most precious resource needs your help now. Go to thankyouocean.org to find out what you can do.
And my guest on the program is Juan Piersol, who is the Executive Director of Business, Industrial, and Agricultural Programs here at the college. John, welcome back to the program.
Good to be here.
Been here several times,
Yes.
different
Enjoy it.
programs. I guess, first of all, what your title implies several different things: business, industrial, agricultural. Why don't you tell the folks what you kind of oversee here at Florida Gateway College?
That's relatively new. In 2011, I took on more responsibilities of other programs, including now the business programs, the logistics and supply chain management, which is a new program for us, and that and business are very integrated together. Engineering technology, which is an AS degree in engineering, which is manufacturing based, which is also a very good career these days. The horticulture program, HVAC, welding, and cosmetology. So the college reorganized and I picked up some of the other program areas.
Well, and we wanted to kind of highlight the horticulture program, but there are careers in anything that you do, depending on what the student is interested in doing.
Yes, and like a lot of careers, the logistics, although it's becoming more well known, and engineering are ones that people don't know much about. Cosmetology they do, welding they understand, HVAC they understand, and those are very popular programs. You have a real good coordinator there in Carl Romano, and there are more and more local students coming into HVAC and welding for local jobs. But engineering, it's an AS degree in engineering, a 2-year degree that's manufacturing based. You take a look at most people think of engineering as the bachelor's degree in engineering. And those people design equipment and those kind of things. But the AS degree person actually uses the equipment on the manufacturing floor and knows how to fix it. For instance, the robots that people see all the time welding cars. Every time a different car or a different machine of any kind goes through, that welding machine has to do different things. Somebody has to program the logic controllers and make sure that that welding machine is doing what it's supposed to do. So those people have to be really technically astute, but they don't need a 4-year degree to do it.
Now, a lot of people may be saying, you know, engineering technology, do I have to move to Detroit to where I'm going to be on a manufacturing assembly line? But there are local businesses here in Columbia County, and in addition, there are small industries all over our area that students can find employment.
Yeah, yes, you don't necessarily have to move out of the state at all, but obviously the broader your range of employment opportunities the more opportunities you will have. But manufacturing is growing in the state of Florida. Rick Scott has been pushing it. You hear more about it in the newspaper and on the news, the manufacturing base in Florida growing. And these firms need people on the floor that know they're not laborers, they're trained technicians that know how to use all the sophisticated equipment and repair it. And so that particular program is not well known by a lot of people because most people think of the bachelor's degree in engineering, yet the AS degree is very highly regarded, and those people can do very well. Same thing with logistics and supply chain management. That's a relatively new career, although it's been around forever and ever.
Well, they just didn't call it logistics.
Except
they
in the military.
They called it moving stuff from point A to point B in the easiest and most efficient way.
And
I guess that's the best way to describe what we're talking about.
It is, and some companies, like Walmart, are excellent at it. I mean, that's one of the ways that they cut costs is they are very meticulous about the cost of from wherever it's manufactured to the retail store. Well, and other companies the same way.
You look at Walmart. Walmart has a distribution center in McClenny, on the other side of McClenny, where they supply Walmart stores throughout the state of Florida, and it's amazing. And I think part of the reason that kids don't know about that career is they don't give tours to Walmart's distribution center or Target's distribution center or U.S. Cold Storage.
We've been there with our students. We have been in the high school. Columbia High School has a good logistics program. It's more warehouse management oriented, which is only one part of supply chain management, but an important part. And they get to go on some tours sometimes. There's also a Walmart distribution center in Alachua, and our students have been down there too. And I think it's one of those things where once the student realizes, like a lot of careers, what is really involved, it's pretty intriguing. It's a very interesting career. You have to be good in statistics, computers, which catches people off guard because a lot of people think it's just truck driving or working in a warehouse, and they're two important parts, but they're only two parts of a huge operation.
Well, now I tell people I was in Savannah this past weekend at the Port of Savannah. Well, it's a port, but it's also a place for tourism. But they have got ships coming in and out of that port, and one of the tours we went on, they were talking about the deep dredging of the Panama Canal, which will allow larger ships to come from Asia, which will make the port of Jacksonville, Savannah, Charleston, Port Everglades busier. And so that's kind of where we are positioned near the Jacksonville Port to provide training for those students that they're going to need.
Yes, and a lot of people have heard about Plum Creek's Intermodal Park just east of the college here, which they are developing to be an inland port where things will come in, goods will come in off those ships, and rather than go through customs in Jacksonville, they'll truck them to this inland port where they will go through customs there. It just makes unloading the ship a lot faster. It doesn't back up unloading the ship while things are getting taken care of right there in Jacksonville. Some of those containers will come to this inland port. But it's not just for that. The intermodal park will include a lot of different companies, including perhaps manufacturing companies. So both with engineering and supply chain management, the potential for more and more jobs right here in Columbia County as that intermodal park develops is very strong. And that's why we wanted to be a little bit ahead of the curve in training people for those careers. Not that you have to wait till that develops, because there's other careers throughout Florida and the Southeast right now, but there will be more local jobs in the future.
Well, I know that we're talking about importing goods from the Jacksonville Port over here, but it works both ways. If there were companies that were interested in using the intermodal park as a manufacturing of a widget or whatever unit they wanted, and they wanted to ship it, it goes both ways. You could ship it back to Jacksonville and then send it to the port and send it overseas. So
it's got a lot of potential because it's going to be a place where this inland port will be located, as well as perhaps manufacturing companies. And with manufacturing companies, a lot of supply companies will be near the manufacturer that uses a lot of their supplies, and also warehousing. So the opportunities for growth over the next 10 to 20 years is pretty strong here in Columbia County with that intermodal park.
Now you mentioned welding, HVAC, and cosmetology as the staples of the program. Everybody knows about those careers.
Yes.
There are jobs available. Cosmetology, there's always jobs available.
Always jobs.
If you want to become an entrepreneur, there's an opportunity for you to start your own business as a hairstylist or a cosmetologist, as they say. Same thing with welding. Those are a given. We got a new program, and I want to talk about the Golf Landscape Operations Program that for many years, from I guess the mid-60s?
It started in 1967. A lot of people don't remember that we had two programs, an AS degree in golf course operations and an AS degree in landscape technology. Both started 1967. I came in 1974 as part of those programs as a landscape instructor, in fact. And by the time I came, it was 7 years after they started, both programs were well known around the Southeast. And over the years, our reputation spread throughout the state, throughout the country, and internationally. We have many students still in other countries that went through golf course operations.
Well, you know, and I know, Facebook allows you to be in touch with some of those. I know Darren Gafford was one of our graduates, and Darren is in the Philippines at a place called Whack Whack Golf Course, which is kind of a neat name for a golf course. But so literally the program has grown. I don't know how many graduates over the years. You think about 67.
It's well over 1,000.
Well over 1,000 graduates, and they have spread the word of Lake City Community College, now Florida Gateway College. But enrollment in those two programs has been declining.
It started to decline. I mean, it really sort of caught me off guard a little bit. I never really expected it. The golf industry, as a lot of people know, has changed a little bit, slowed down a little bit. Not going to go away, still there. It's still a good industry, and people still play golf. But the attitude of students changed over the years, where in the 70s, 80s, 90s, they were more than willing to pull up stakes wherever they were in Florida or South Carolina or Ohio. They'd come down here to go through our golf course operations program, maybe married with kids, they do all that. And at the time, the program was 3 years. And they still would do all that because that's what they needed to do to get the job they wanted. But today's students, with all the online courses, they're looking more to taking courses online, and they're not as willing to leave the job that they have to come and go through even 2 years of a program. So times have changed, the industry's still there, the student attitudes have changed, and so we had to make a change or we would have gone away.
Now, you talk about the attitudes of some students. Usually there was a waiting list to get into this program.
Yeah.
And so there were people that were willing to put whatever they were doing on hold to either get experience on a golf course or to just wait to get into the program.
In the 70s and 80s and 90s, we had a year experience required before you came in the golf program. And even with that requirement, students waited a year or more to get into the program. We were filled every year and had this year waiting list. And so I think two things happened over the last 40-some years, and that is people in the 70s, 80s, 90s, young people, used to work labor jobs in the summer. That's what everybody did. If you're a high school or college student, that's where the summer jobs were. Many of them worked on a golf course or in the landscape industry and found out they really liked it. And then they asked their superintendent, well, how do you become a golf course superintendent? And they were told, you need to go to Lake City. And so they came to us. And they were willing to do that for, like I say, even then, 3-year program. But the students aren't doing that as much, so not being introduced to the career as much as they used to be. And the advent of all these online courses and the economy probably plays a little bit of a role, where people are working on a golf course, they find out they really like it, but they can't afford to leave their job to come to campus here. And so now there is another option that didn't used to exist 20, 30 years ago, these online courses. And so they're looking, and we've always had a lot of requests for, do you have new online courses? Do you have new online courses? Over the last 4, 5, 6 years. And so we had to develop something in that regard, or the program would have gone away. We didn't want that to happen.
And I'll give you an example of someone who was very serious about coming into the program, Juan Gutierrez, who is the head of agronomy at the Oceans Reef Club down in Key Largo, Florida. I actually had a chance to visit with Juan. We went down there. He told me that he lived in Colombia in South America. He was friends with Carmelo Villegas, who is a professional golfer on the PGA Tour. Many of you probably know that he's went to the University of Florida to play golf, and they both were good buddies. Juan was not as good a golfer as Carmelo, but Juan wanted to be in the golf. He loved golf. He loved to play it, wasn't as good, but so he heard about Lake City in Colombia. Somebody told him in Colombia, South America, said
Yes.
Lake City Community College is where you need to go. So he gets on a plane and moves to Miami. I think he talked to you, but he spoke Spanish. So he spent a year in the States learning how to speak English. You told him when he got to Lake City that he had to spend a year on a golf course. So he then went another year in Atlanta with Mangum,
Ken Mangum,
Ken Mangum
yes.
at the Atlanta Athletic Club, spent a year up there, then came into the program, went 3 years for the program. So that's 5 years of his life that he dedicated to this program. And now he is head of agronomy, and because he is a bilingual speaker, he's in demand all
Yes.
over the world. And he's made quite a good living for himself. But John, it was sacrifice. If it was me, I'm not sure I would have been as patient.
Yeah, and there were a lot of students. We had students from all over who were willing to do that, both in the state of Florida, from other states, other countries, not just Juan, that were willing to do that to get into this career. And that's changed for a variety of reasons. And so we had to change from the on-campus 2 or 3 year program to something online. And that's where we developed this 18 credit online certificate in horticulture. It's not meant to be a replacement of what we had before, but it's meant to give students a basic plant science background, because our target student for that program is someone who is working on a golf course or in the landscape industry, who really likes what they're doing, but they don't have any formal college courses at all. And so to get them started, they can take our online certificate in horticulture, which are 6 basic plant science courses. And so they have practical experience, our plant science background, and then I recommend to them, if you want to become a golf course superintendent or move up into management with a landscape company, add on to that a bachelor's degree in business. So the combination of practical experience wherever they're working, our online certificate in horticulture, and a bachelor's degree in business is a really good combination, and still will serve them quite well.
Well, let me ask you about, so all right, I'm interested in doing this, and you were talking to one of our students today about,
Yes.
so what do I need to do? I mean, what classes,
Well,
are they hard? I mean, what are the classes that I'm going to have to take? You said there are 6
yeah.
horticulture
There are
classes.
6 courses that were in our AS degree programs. There are Principles of Plant Growth, which is a botany class, agricultural chemistry, landscape plants, soils and fertilizers, an irrigation class, which is unusual online, and a turf class. One of our instructors developed irrigation online, which is primarily irrigation design, but it's hard to find anything with irrigation that's online. So they're good basic courses, but those alone won't do it. You have to have the practical experience. That's why our target market are students working in the industry already. But if a high school student came to me and said, I'd like to get into the golf industry, I don't have any experience, what should I do? The first thing I would tell them, go work on a golf course. Make sure that's really what you want to do. And after being on the golf course 2 or 3 months, you find out, boy, I really like doing this. Then start pursuing our online certificate in horticulture. Complete that. Then after that, you want to move up to superintendent, start working on that bachelor's degree in business.
So are we talking basically 2 semesters in the horticulture program?
Remember, our target market are people working in the industry already. And so they shouldn't take more than 2 courses a semester if they're working
So
full-time.
you want them, part of your deal is you want them to be working and taking the classes at the same time.
They don't have to. A high school student could take our courses, and they could complete it in 2 semesters. But it's better if they're working in the industry, working full-time. As they're working, they take these courses. And if they take 2 each semester, fall, spring, summer, we're going to try to offer all 6 every semester. And so, because people be starting at different times.
Well, so and what you're basically, I know if I'm hearing you correctly, you're getting them while they're, so part of what they're learning, they're seeing on the golf course.
Yes.
So they can relate to what they're learning in the class, and that might make it a little easier, especially if you're with a good superintendent. You can ask them questions.
Yeah, you have to have both the hands-on and the theoretical. And so what a golf course, if you take a look at the golf industry, what a golf course superintendent can definitely teach them on the job: how to mow greens, how to mow fairways, cut cups, air fly, how to calibrate a sprayer and a spreader, which are huge, how to apply chemicals properly, some irrigation hands-on work. A lot of superintendents are very good at teaching someone all those skills, but they don't have enough time to teach them a whole course in chemistry, in botany, in soils and fertilizers. That's the theoretical background so that the student can understand, why am I putting out this particular material? And so we can give them that with these online courses. So the practical experience part is an extremely important part of the whole process. So they get that. That's why if a new student came to me, first thing I tell them, go work on a golf course first. For 2 reasons. One, are you sure this is really what you want to do? After a couple of months, they'll know. And they say, man, this is really what I want to do. All right, now complete our plant science package as you're learning on the job how to do things. And then after you're done, a couple of years you've been working on the golf course, you have our plant science background with the certificate in horticulture. Now pursue an AS or a bachelor's degree in business. The reason I'd say the bachelor's in business is because it makes them very versatile. If they decide to do something else later, they have a business degree.
So if you thought golf was not where you wanted to be with the degree you got, you could always go into some other
or even sales in the golf supply industry.
How big is golf? We're talking about, there are hundreds of jobs out there. In fact, when I would travel with Bruce Witt, we would learn about salespeople. We've got Jacobson, Toro, and John Deere. You had people that were selling these. They had to know a little bit about what it was all about.
Yes.
And so there are jobs everywhere as it relates to the golf industry.
The thing that's changed in golf, in the 80s and 90s, it was a growth industry. They're actually building more golf courses than they should have. They're building golf courses. There for a while, they were building over 360 golf courses a year. And so the demand, the golfers, didn't keep up with all that demand, almost like housing, same kind of thing. Then in 08 hit, everything slowed down, budgets got cut, there were too many golf courses, people didn't play as much golf as they used to. Instead of once a week, once every other week, or once a month, or all those kind of things, the average recreational golfer. And so it hurt the industry, but it didn't go away. But there had been golf courses the last 5 years, every year they close, they go out of business. That sort of slowed down, just like in housing, it slowed down to the point where that stopped. But it doesn't mean there's no jobs out there. There are some good jobs out there. In fact, for assistant golf course superintendents, where all our students used to go out of the program, we can't fill the demand. There's still more jobs than we have graduates, because not only is our program down in numbers, other 2-year and 4-year turf programs around the country are down in student numbers. There's no doubt about it.
And you look at the number of guys that are retiring. I mean, there's going to be a need to keep that maintenance level at a high level, because a lot of the golf courses that our graduates are working at are high-end golf courses. Like I mentioned, Ocean's Reef Club. You can't play there without being invited by someone, and that someone is maybe a CEO of Exxon, or there are people that fly corporate jets into this place too. So very, very high level. They expect the best when they play golf.
But those people that get those jobs have a lot of experience under their belt first, obviously. So you go out as an assistant. The thing that's a little slower is moving from assistant superintendent up to superintendent than it used to be. But the jobs are still out there, and it's not just golf course, sports turf management, soccer fields, baseball, football, all those kind of facilities are in need of people with trained turf backgrounds. And people coming off a golf course really are good for any of those areas as well, although they'd have to learn about the clay areas, like in baseball, how to paint a field, outline a field, all this thing. Some differences between golf and sports turf, but the basics are the same. And we have graduates from golf that have gotten into sports turf.
Well, I mean, you look at the Jaguar field, the Everbank field. Unfortunately, nobody was watching the Jaguars, but that's one of our.
Yeah, maybe now they got resurgence.
Yeah, now that Blake
Hope is
Bortles
back.
is now the quarterback,
Yeah.
well, maybe. But Mark Clay is one of our graduates who's taking care of the practice facilities and the Everbank field. And we talked to Mark at one time, and he says what a challenge it is to have a soccer match, a football game, a monster truck pull, and so very challenging. But he does a great job over at Everbank Field. If someone is interested in this program, they can come talk to John. His telephone number is 754-4225, or you can email him if you're shy on the phone, john.piersol@fgc.edu. Any of the programs we talked about, but specifically the horticulture programs, John can talk to you. You can come out and visit. You can look at the facilities, and he can take you step by step on what you need to do to be a horticulturist and perhaps a career in golf, or a career in welding, or cosmetology, or HVAC, or engineering technology, logistics. Did I name them all?
I think you got them.
Got them all. John, thanks for being on the program.
Enjoy it.
Wish
Always
you
do.
best of success, and
Thank
hopefully we'll have some folks that will ring your telephone and be interested in a career here at Florida Gateway College. Hope you enjoyed the program. We'll see you next time. I'm Mike McKee. So long.